Every year, millions of children suffer at the hands of these from people who are meant to protect them. Imagine an 8-year-old boy, named Ethan, who dreads going home from school each day, knowing he'll have to face his father, angry that he'll be able to, be putting hands on him, like punching him or choking him, even. Or picture a little girl, Ava, left alone for days without food, or comfort, or anyone to even say that they'll protect her. So sadly, these situations happen every day, and I'm here today to speak about this isolated topic that we rarely speak about. Um, our communities are full, stacked with these situations. Every year, millions of children who we know, who we don't know, suffer from abuse at the hands of these people who they're sworn to protect, their parents or stepfather or stepmother or these foster people that claim that they love the child and then take them in just pretty much for money, money grab, pretty much. The child, they most likely end up living in fear, never sure when they'll face the next trauma. And it's very obvious that it affects not only the children involved, but it also affects the society, because these are children for the future. We want positive things coming from these, they rarely are. Understanding this issue is essential because it's impacted many vertebraes and many, I would say levels for the community to touch, and just really point finger at, but we for some reason don't. Today, I'll explain the types of causes and effects that child abuse actually plays on a child, and try to give encouraging actions. If you ever know someone who's in distress or someone who doesn't really know how to be a father or mother, to give and be able to discuss how to, enlighten this child's future. We'll discuss the types of abuse, the common causes behind it, and the effects the children and what they have in society, actually. Basically, okay, so the types of child abuse that are actually rarely ever mentioned are, of course, we can say physical. You have people who are very abusive and violent, and of course, there's no way to answer or to care for a child because of the violence, because they don't understand anything. Nowadays, especially with the way that these people, you have people killing their kids. It's some kind of it's become like a fashion nowadays, where it's someone claiming kind of like mental, like they're mental or something, and then they end up killing the child or end up putting the child through, like in one case there was like 17 children living in one household. The little girl had to escape, and it was just all bad. She finally found a cop, and just the whole house was a mess, like bombarded with feces. It was just a really bad situation, but luckily those kids were able to get out of that. 1 in 7 children have experienced abuse or neglect in the past year. Now that we covered what abuse actually looks like, let's explore why it actually happens, because of course no child wants this to happen to them ever. But typically the main causes of child abuse are usually come from drug use in the family, depression, of course, and then they take it out on the child, where the child doesn't know any better or know what he or she being punished for, yet it always happens. Then you have the factors of poverty, of course, and then the lack of education. So the person just knows just to use their fists and hands because they weren't educated enough to learn how to teach a child, so they just automatically turn to what they think is called, it's easier. That's like physical punishment, where it's never ever the case. The National Institute on Drug Abuse found that parental substance abuse plays a role in 40 to 80% of child cases in the United States in 2022. Now that's a lot, to just leave and trust. It doesn't make no sense that we're not shedding enough light on this. These causes don't just harm children in the short term; it makes a long-term effect to where who are you gonna trust in the future? You have no one to turn to, no one to. You pretty much have yourself, and you see the outcomes of it. Sometimes can be bad if the child is, that has a good head on their shoulder. You see a lot of women obviously become strippers, prostitutes, and runaways. It's not a good situation. The effects of child abuse can lead to PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, impaired social skills, and physical health problems. And that's obviously it's the CDC have reported that abuse in children, they face higher risk when it becomes very chronic in their health conditions to substance abuse. They begin doing the drugs themselves, and they also end up having a criminal background as an adult. So we see a lot of these cases nowadays, like the Jeffrey Dahmers and all these the Menendez brothers. You wonder what was happening before for the child, or like when they end up killing their parents. You know what I mean? And no one even took the time to even evaluate. Now you have this, trying to. People don't even realize that the kids were being abused, and so like that's the reason why they end up killing their parents, even though it doesn't stand for nothing in court, which is very highly. But now they're grown, and it's like I actually wish they would get released from jail because the parents weren't right for what they're doing. The father was sexually abusing them. It was just all bad. It's not an easy thing to prevent, but if we put our minds to it, strategies like funding the child protection programs and all these like charities that they create, it actually not no Red Cross or anything, because I don't believe none of those functions ever donate to the right thing. It's my personal opinion, but like they say, the UNICEF has increased money to actually hire a group to investigate people who are abusing children. So maybe we should take some more money and put it into that. And it would actually, they said that with more of support, it would reduce the risk of child abuse by 25%. Let's summarize actually what we've learned today. It's actually mainly, obviously, the focus on child abuse, child abuse, and how it's a growing like issue and topic that we don't speak on today. And if more people actually spoke up, maybe it would be something that everybody's minds would be so messed up we don't even think what a person has gone through as a child before we have to time judge. So we explored the types of causes and effects of child abuse, and as well as preventive strategies. That would you take measures. That's how I was saying earlier. To take measures to avoid child abuse, or avoid if you know someone, of course, see something, say something. These issues aren't brought up enough, and people are sometimes too scared to say something. But that's what CPS is for. And even nowadays, you can't even trust them. So it's like the only thing we can do nowadays is be as adults is to be there as protectors for these children, and because they're vulnerable. I mean, they're all we have, and it takes a village. You know what I mean? But without that, this world would not be what it is today. And I believe as the adults we are today, everything it starts from the beginning. When we were children, and and that's just the most precious moments you can ever take back. Child abuse is preventable, but it takes community awareness, and let's just strive to make the advocates aware of this, so everybody can be on top of that. Thank you for listening to my speech, and I appreciate it. Have a good one.